All right, guys, we've builded it, we've painted, but right now this Stug looks like it just rolled out of the factory floor. We can have that. Today we're diving into pin washes, chipping, speckling, and rust. Because no tank survived World War II without a few scars. Grab your brush, things are getting messy. Because this kit has a lot of stowage, we're just gonna finish the stowage placement. Basically, I will just do it randomly. It's up to you guys. The first step is we will do a pin washes, but we will do our own washes because you can use enamel washes straight from the bottle, but I really enjoy working with oil paint. You can use really cheap oil paint and just don't forget to mix it with white spirit or any mineral spirit. Using oil, the flow is absolutely amazing. It's different compared to the enamel washes that I use for years, and I still use it today. It's only a matter of I would say taste or different model. When I'm doing, I would say kind of a pale model. In this case, it's kind of a dunkelgelb, and it's kind of a yellowish model. I'm using oil because honestly, it flow absolutely amazing. But the other thing is, it's a lot easier to apply, and you don't see any brush strokes or whatever. And using oil washes, it's really easy to clean after that. So don't be afraid to put a little bit more than you used to, because honestly, pin washes, you can use a really thin brush to really pinpoint. That's what the term pin washes are from. But you can pinpoint all the little details into your model. But like I said, the good thing about also this oil, it take a little bit of oil, and with like a really small tube of oil paint, you can probably, I don't know, if you're building model like I do, you're gonna have it for like 10 years if you're just using it for washes. I'm also using it for different things. But after you finish your pin washes, you can just keep your wash into a bottle. That's super handy, and you're gonna be ready for your next build. Pin wash is a really easy technique to learn, and if you want to do just one step of the weathering process, I really encourage you to do the pin wash. It's always but not always, but it's one of the first step of the weathering process that I do all the time. Every build that I do, I always do a pin wash. And like I said earlier, it's super easy to clean, and it's gonna kind of a mimic of a regular wash if you spread it all over the place. Next step, we're gonna work on the tracks. I'm using a really easy product from Amomig. It's a track wash. Since I'm using plastic tracks, it's not like using like the metal one that I use, I would say almost all the time. But the track wash will mimic some kind of a burnishing effect on your your tracks. So for the first part of the chipping process, I'm using a sponge. So you can use like kitchen sponge or whatever it is, but just use kind of the denser one. And I'm gonna use dunkelgelb and white just to get a little bit lighter than the base color. And I will add a little bit of water also. I will basically do kind of a two-step process, because the first step I will do chipping with a sponge to put random chip all over your model. And after that, we're going to refine everything with micro chipping. So using a really, really tiny brush like a 000 or something like that. And we're going to refine our work. For the sponge chipping, you just damp your sponge into your mixture, and you're gonna remove almost every piece of paint. It's kind of, I would say, similar to dry brushing. Dry brushing, you remove almost all the paint on your brush. So it's kind of the same thing with a sponge. You're just removing all the excess paint, leaving just small dots of paint, because you don't want to blur everything. And since in this case we're using acrylic paint, just be gentle with your sponge, because like I said, it's a lot harder to remove the excess paint. With acrylic, you can use like a paint retarder, but something like that. But it's a lot harder to remove than oil paint or enamel paint. Since this tank has a lot of storage, I'm just gonna concentrate my chipping on the front end, the back end, on the top of the Stug. I'm just gonna add the drying retarder, because now we're gonna do micro chipping. Micro chipping, basically with the sponge chipping, we're just gonna regroup, and I would say do a kind of a finer result of chipping by using a 000 brush. Or you can use the smallest size brush that you have in your stash. In this case, I'm using 000 by Artist Opus. I had those brush for a couple years, and they are absolutely amazing. And don't forget to do the same thing on the side panel. With this build, I'm not gonna use all the side panel. I'm just gonna use 3 different panels, 2 on one side and 1 on the other side. That will basically personalize my armor vehicle. And since I'm working from a reference picture that I have on a Stug during World War II. Now we're getting dirty with speckling. Speckling, it's a really, again, easy technique that you have to master before you apply to your tank. It's the same thing as sponge chipping. The way of doing it is you just damp your brush into your paint. And after that, with the drying retarder, if you add too much dots all over the place, you can just remove it with water. It's a lot easier. And again, before you start speckling on your vehicle, just make sure that you remove all the excess paint. And that's the result that we have so far. Look pretty good so far, but we're gonna add a lot more weathering details. Now we're gonna work on the darker chip. I'm using German black, white, and also the base color that is Dunkelgrau in this case. So you're gonna have like a kind of a smooth finish, and adding the base color into your mixture, it's gonna smooth out the color all over. And I'm also using drying retarder in this case, because we're gonna do it by micro chipping. That means we're gonna use not all, but we're gonna use only a brush in this case, because the plan is to add tiny details inside the chip that you already done with the sponge chipping, and also the micro chipping that you did a little bit earlier. Again, by using a really tiny brush. In this case, I'm using another like 000 brush, and I'm just focusing on the tiny random spot of chip with the base color. Chipping process could take like forever. and just be patient. It's a hobby, so you're supposed to be relaxed, and it's gonna remove your stress a little bit by chipping all your vehicle. But honestly, if I do microchipping on all my vehicle, it could take me weeks just to finish the chipping process. It's something that you have to consider. That's why using sponge chipping for the first layer, it's gonna add a little bit more chip in a faster way. I'm just showing you right now, if you're not used to it, what kind of I would say poor brush kill that you can do, and you will see a little bit later again you can remove it because we're using drying retarder. It's a lot easier to remove with water. And again, I'm working on the really refined chip on the panel side of the armor vehicle. Just take your time with chipping. It's a process that takes time, but it's gonna add so much character to any of your model armor. And also, if you take the time of doing it, it's gonna look absolutely amazing. Yes, on the next video, we're gonna add dust and mud and things like that, but the chipping will still be in effect. Now we're just gonna add a little bit of white into our mixture, and we're gonna paint all the tools and the towing cables. Now it's time for rust. It's one of my favorite part of the weathering process. I'm gonna use different techniques and different material going from this case rust streak. That will be the rust that I will put into our chip. But again, don't be don't be too hard with the rust chip, because it's not true that the German vehicle were all rusty. Depending of, you don't want to do like an abandoned vehicle in this case. So we using also enamel thinner, enamel product. You can just use thinner to remove all the excess rust that you put into your model. Again, the plan is to focus on the smaller dot that you add with the darker color of chipping, and that will give some really nice detail of rust. But with your with a brush and the enamel thinner, we're gonna remove, I would say, most of it. It's gonna just leave some kind of a layer. It's gonna add some kind of it's gonna act like a filter or something like that. So the detail will be absolutely amazing. And I'm just gonna take the opportunity in this case to add some rust streaks into a panel. So we're just drawing some really thin line, and we're gonna remove I would say not all of it, but a big chunk of it, and that will leave some really nice streaks. Now we're gonna work with the acrylic wash from Vallejo. So it's a rust wash, and with that we're gonna focus on the tools, the towing cables, and the different metal part, just to add a little bit of I would say a wash and a little bit of layers. That's why I'm using a wash, because I don't want to rust all over the place. Again, using the rust streaks by AK Interactive. I'm working on the spare tracks in front of the vehicle. So I'm just using the sponge method that we did on the chipping, and I'm gonna add some fine chips. Another product I'm using by Vallejo, it's Rust Environmental. So this way again, I'm using it by the chipping method. And I'm gonna finish this part with a rust wash again by Vallejo. Vallejo again does a really awesome product on the weathering side of it. And by finishing with the rust wash, it's gonna basically join everything together. So I'm trying this new product It's a product from Dirty Down. It's Dirty Down Rust. I'm just going to use the speckling method because I used this product, I would say, earlier in different vehicle, and it's going to give me some kind of a shiny look. So I'm just going to finish everything with a really nice coat of pigment. I'm using the pigment binder in this case, so I'm just going to mix my pigment with the pigment binder, and I'm just gonna add again some little chunks of the pigments. Now it's just time to finish the panel. The panel will give some character to your vehicle. In this case, like I said earlier, I'm just using 3 different panels because those panels broke down during war or during impact. So that's why I just kept 3 different panels. Weathering is my most favorite thing about building model armor. Painting is fun. Building it's not that fun because I'm always anxious to start painting and weathering. So next week I will try to paint a German tank commander figure. And I hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next one.